I have such a small head, so if this falls off, you'll know why. They also told me I'm not allowed to point at the screens because it's not good TV. I don't know, we're not exactly making House of Cards here, but I'll try to avoid doing that. Imagine walking into a store. You're shopping for clothes. It's a good feeling, right? I mean, it's supposed to be a good feeling at least. And you're not worried that your shopping behavior supports irresponsible practices in the supply chain. And you know this because there's information on the products that tells you so. And you trust this information. Wouldn't that be fantastic? So my name is Erik Karlsson, as Simonetta said. I work at the sustainability department at H&M. I do life cycle assessments. Sorry, is there something wrong? Yeah, it's my small head. Yeah. Okay, great. Is this better? Good. So as I was saying, I do life cycle assessments. I look at our conscious materials and processes, and I'm involved in the development of the Higg Index. Now, I have a pretty great job, at least I think so. My presentation today has 3 parts. First, I want to tell you about the exciting sustainability program we have at H&M. And second, I want to tell you why we have that program at H&M. And third, I want to tell you about the exciting opportunity that comes with consumer-facing communication and product transparency. Does that sound okay? Great. So how many here know about H&M? Hands up. Okay, everyone, I hope. Great. So how many here has visited an H&M store the past year? Okay, so that's almost everyone as well. How many bought here something from H&M during the last year? Okay, so about half of you maybe bought something. That's good. I think we all have a relationship to H&M, and that's going to help us during the presentation. In case you don't know who we are, we're the second biggest retailer in the world. We have about 3,400 stores worldwide. Currently, we're on 55 markets. We're about 120,000 employees, most of whom work in our stores. We've come a long way since we started with just one store in Västerås here in Sweden, 1947. And we're still growing. Besides the H&M brand, we also own And Other Stories, COS, Weekday, Monkey, and Cheap Monday, 5 other brands. We're a huge company. I think we can agree on that. And with this size comes an enormous responsibility, of course. Does this work? Great. Lovely. So I want to give you 3 examples of how we work with sustainability at H&M. And I want to start off with our work with more sustainable materials. We only have one planet, right? And we want to be respecting its boundaries. And that's why we at H&M have as a target to only use cotton from sustainable sources by 2020. And by that, we mean organic cotton, we mean better cotton, cotton from the Better Cotton Initiative, and recycled cotton. Now, cotton is our biggest fiber, so this is an important goal to us. We have 6 more years to go, and currently we're on track, but still we see that we need to focus a lot of efforts in this area. Another focus area for us is closing the loop. And by that we mean we want to be making new textiles from old textiles. There are a few research projects out there, and we have formed partnerships with some of them. But we see that a lot of research needs to go into this area if we are to succeed. So that's my first example. In my second example, I want to show you our roadmap to fair living wages. But instead of me telling you about that, I thought I'd show you a film instead, if I can get it to work.
H&M is a global company with 900 suppliers from all over the world. We don't own any of our suppliers, but we have an important part in ensuring that our suppliers can pay their workers a fair living wage, sufficient to cover their families' basic needs. We at H&M have been engaged in this issue for many years. Together with leading global experts, trade unions and non-governmental organizations, we have created a roadmap to achieve a fair living wage for the entire textile industry. First step on this path is to improve our own purchasing practices and try to minimize production peaks and overtime. This can reduce unnecessary pressure on workers and improve productivity. H&M also works with suppliers to enable the transition towards a fair living wage. That's why we set up role model factories, encouraging better dialogue, training and fair wage negotiations between workers and management. The findings from these projects will be scaled up. All suppliers will continuously report directly to H&M on their progress. The workers' opinion of the fairness of their wage will always be central. Third, H&M supports the creation of democratically elected worker representative bodies and collective bargaining agreements. Most importantly, we ensure that workers learn about their rights and how to organize and maintain them through fair negotiations. We also engage with governments in dialogue with worker representatives and employers to identify and implement a fair living wage nationally. The minimum wage level is to be reviewed annually. All strategic suppliers should have pay structures in place to pay fair living wages to 850,000 workers by 2018. We hope that this initiative will inspire other brands to join our effort and together drive real change across the entire textile industry. H&M knows change is difficult, but we're fully dedicated to bringing a fair living wage to all. It's just the right thing to do.
I love that film. It's got this sort of Monty Python feel to it. And she's got a really nice accent as well. I want to have that accent. But in all seriousness, this is a very important target for us. And it's pretty ambitious. So we need to focus a lot of our efforts there. So that's my second example of how we work with sustainability. The third example, I want to tell you about our work with our code of conduct. We conduct about 3,000 audits per year in order to make sure our suppliers follow our code of conduct. And examples of what we check during these audits is number of overtime hours per month and that suppliers follow our chemical management guidelines, for example. Now we monitor all our direct suppliers and we're starting to move further down the supply chain as well because a lot of the impacts are there, as we saw from Greg's. Where are you, Greg? There you are. From Greg's presentation earlier. And currently we're about 200 people working full-time with sustainability at H&M, and most of them work with following up the code of conduct. So I have given you 3 examples of how we work with sustainability at H&M. We have our work with more sustainable materials, cotton and closing the loop being the big focus areas. We have a roadmap to fair living wages, and we have our work with following up our code of conduct. So that concludes part 1 of my presentation. So this conference is about speaking about elephants in the room. We're a huge company. We're publicly listed. Our shareholders are screaming out for return on their investments. We have a growth target of about 10 to 15% per year. Why is sustainability so important to us? Because it is. And the answer is pretty simple. We have a strong and clear business case for working with sustainability at H&M. And I'll get back to that business case in just a minute. Another thing that is very clear for us is that sustainability is part of our core values. And it has been ever since Erling Persson, the founder of H&M, started the business in 1947. And he used to say that H&M had a wider responsibility than just business. And that has been passed on to his grandson and current CEO, Karl-Johan Persson. Sustainability often starts with leadership, right? And I think for everyone at H&M, it's very clear that Karl-Johan is both passionate and interested in these issues. And I think usually sustainability departments are trying to convince their CEO to adopt certain initiatives and pushing them on. I would say at H&M is rather the opposite. Karl-Johan is pushing us to improve and get there quicker. So the first reason for working with sustainability at H&M is about responsibility. We feel we have a responsibility to do so as the huge company that we are. Now, in my second reason, we turn back to that business case I was referring to earlier. For now, being part of all of these initiatives mean quite large investments from our side, short term. Long term, we see that these investments will pay off. So the second reason is one of those payoffs. All you students in the audience, you're our future employees. And yes, someone shaking his head here. No, but we see that working for a responsible company is becoming more and more important to you guys. You don't want just another company where you can start a career. You want to start a career at a company with values that match your own values. And one of them is, of course, a credible sustainability program. So we see that working with sustainability will actually be very important for our future ability to recruit the right people to H&M. It's also very important for us that you are interested in these issues, because otherwise we might get the wrong people to H&M. Now, the third reason is also one of those payoffs. We see working with sustainability as an investment in the customer offer. So it's about increasing perception about you as customers to H&M, about increasing your perception about H&M as a company. So even though H&M is this huge company, we're committed to sustainability for 3 reasons. 1, because we feel we have a responsibility to be as the huge company that we are. And 2, it's about recruiting the right people to H&M. And 3, increasing customer perception about H&M as a company. Now, if you're an H&M customer, what do you care about? What's important to you? Besides the latest design collaboration together with Alexander Wang. Well, we ask our customers that regularly, of course. And when it comes to sustainability, we have a few issues that always pop up. These are the top 4 issues the customers say is important to them. Animal welfare, working conditions in the factory, the use of energy and water, and the use of chemicals. Now, we have initiatives to cover all of these issues at H&M. But then we ask our customers, so which of the initiatives that we do you recognize and do you know about? And the answers are pretty different. They know about our work with organic cotton, they know about the garment collecting program, and they know about the conscious collection. So what we see here is that what is important to our customers, what they care about, and what they actually recognize when it comes to what we do is 2 very different things. We see that we reach our customers best when we communicate with them on products or through their own direct actions. So if you go into a store looking for a product and you see a conscious hang tag, and on that hang tag it says organic cotton, or if you take an active decision and go back to the stores with a bag of old clothes, hand that in and get a voucher back, that you remember, and you're going to recognize that. So whatever we do, if we want to communicate something in sustainability or transparency, we see that it has to be in a channel where we're already engaging with our customers, you guys. Because otherwise you're not going to notice. And I think this is an important point, and we'll get back to that a little later. So why do we want to be transparent? Isn't that just something we say in order to score points with the public? No. We feel we have nothing to hide. You guys, our customers, you want more information about these products. Now I'm pointing to the screen. I'm not supposed to. I could do the flight attendant thing and do this instead. So, you guys want more information about these products, And we want to be able to give that information to you guys. Now, we have already taken steps towards more transparency, such as publishing our supplier list 2 years ago. But what can we do to be more transparent? Well, currently we lack a system or a tool that lets us be as transparent as we'd like. And to develop such a system is quite complicated, so it takes time. It would also be great if we could do that together with partners, such as other brands, Patagonia maybe. And it would also be fantastic if we could get NGOs and universities on board, so that we make sure that we develop a system that is credible and relevant for everyone. And then we need to find a way to verify that and communicate it. And this is why we think what the SEC does is so fantastic. And this is why we are such strong supporters of the HIG index. Did someone drink from this water? No, okay. Thanks. So that's me in the middle there with the fake beard. This is a picture from the last SEC meeting in Portland a few weeks ago. It was a great meeting, as you can see. There's people here from REI, Brooks Footwear, Columbia Sportswear. I got similar photos with people from Inditex, who own Zara, Adidas, Nike, Levi's, Gap, you name it. And I think you get the point. We're quite happy to work together. And together we have this fantastic idea that Baptiste told you about earlier, the HIG index, a tool that lets you communicate transparency. And we want to take this opportunity to show you guys the performance of us as a brand and of our products. And the unique thing about the Sustainable Apparel Coalition is that we're actually sitting down and talking to each other, and we're working on something together. Not only with brands, but also NGOs and universities. For example, the University of Borås. So currently, the HIG index is made up of the brand module and the facility module, and H&M is using both of them. We are also very keen to use the new product module when that will be released later this spring. And we have scored all our brands using the brand module, and the facility module has been integrated into our new method for supplier evaluation. Now, we think that the HIG index has fantastic potential, and we see it as the potential transparency standard for the whole industry that we're all looking for. And we want to be able to draw on its 3 core modules, the brand, product, and the brand facility and product module, to create a credible industry standard for consumer-facing communication on the products. Because we want to show you the performance of our brand, H&M as a brand, and the performance of our products and facilities, to give you that transparency that you're looking for and that we're looking for as well. And we think that this information should be available on the products to give you, because that's how we best communicate with you guys, if you remember from my earlier slide. So what are we missing here? Why can't we be more transparent already? This got stuck somewhere. That doesn't look good. It's not good TV. Okay. Well, we're missing a functioning product module. Currently, we're still developing the new product module, which will be called the Design and Development module. And we're also missing a way to verify all of this and to communicate it to you guys. So it's going to be a few years before we have something in store to test out, so bear with us. This is my friend Jon. He's a designer at the denim department at H&M. He's also a great skier. He wanted me to tell you that, for some reason. Anyway, why is the product module so important then? Well, if we can give Jon and his colleagues a tool that lets them measure sustainability on the products, they can then score all their products in one section or division at H&M, and then we can have the divisions competing against each other. and we can set targets for the divisions to improve against. And through that, we can use the Higg index to drive positive development on product level. And we have really good experience from this at H&M, working with the Conscious Denim collection this past fall, where we got a tool to actually measure the impact of our denim washes. And as soon as we did, and were able to show that to the designers and the buyers at H&M, they immediately started to find ways of improving the score. So this is a great way of driving development internally at H&M. Externally, of course, as I told you earlier, we want to be able to show you the scores of our products, and then you can decide what to do. And through the power of your wallets, you decide which products we make and which we don't. We've been speaking about legislation a little bit here. And we at H&M, we think it's fantastic that governments around the world are now starting to become interested in the transparency issue, especially here in Europe. And they are starting to discuss legislation. But right now, we have one system in France, we have another one in Italy, we have one system in the UK, we have two being discussed on EU level. We need a global standard. Because we should be very aware that for global companies such as H&M, it will be near to impossible for us to provide you guys with a transparency standard that is relevant, meaningful, impact driving, and scalable on all these different markets if we have diverging legislation. It will also make it really difficult for you as consumers to recognize all of these different standards and labels. And this is why we think what the SEC does is so fantastic and ambitious, to create a global standard for the whole textile industry. And we also think it's great that the SEC are now collaborating with the European Commission on the footwear pilot, as we heard earlier, where we're also participating. So we really need a global standard, and an EU standard wouldn't be bad either, because the EU are really at the forefront here and would probably influence other governments as well. But a global standard would be much preferable. So to sum up my presentation, we have a really great sustainability program at H&M. I gave you 3 examples of that. We work with more sustainable materials. We have a roadmap to fair living wages. And we work with a code of conduct and following up that code of conduct. I also gave you 3 reasons why we work with sustainability at H&M. Because we feel we have a responsibility to do so as the big company that we are. Because it would be very important for our future ability to recruit the right people to H&M, and in order to increase customer perception about H&M as a company. We also talked about how consumers recognize information that they get on the product or through their own direct actions. We discussed us wanting to be more transparent, but currently we lack a system to be so. And that's why we see the Higg Index as the potential industry standard for transparency. A standard that can drive development both internally, but also externally. And we are fully supportive of legislation at H&M when it comes to transparency. But we need a global standard, because otherwise it won't have the effects that we're looking for. Thank you very much.